Hello, my name is Nick Job. I am the director and somewhat writer for this film. Um, I'm going to talk about a little bit of behind the scenes
Come
stuff
on, OD, you are
today.
not the kind of guy that skips
Uh,
all day.
this was made
You gonna tell me what
late
happened?
2009, early 2010, my first year teaching.
Try me. I can't
And
help you out
we
if you don't
based
help me
this
out.
on the Odyssey, which we had been reading at the time. The students actually wrote a lot of it, modernizing it, and I just kind of fixed it up a little and uh, made sure it was cohesive. So, this opening sequence here, that's actually Michael who plays OD there doing the drug deal behind the tree. We needed an extra, and so we just put him behind the tree and hid him back there. So, anyway, uh, I did auditions for a lot of these parts, the major roles, and the they did pretty well during the auditions, especially Bree right here. And then when it came time to do the actual performance, none of the kids knew their lines, and their performances were really flat. But we had a good time doing it. So, so it really it just worked out in the end. Um, Now, these bits here, where they're doing the texting, is basically to set up the relationship between the characters of Odie and Penny, played by Michael and Megan. Oh, these girls right here are talking about me right now. They're just saying really mean things just to play a joke. Um, but anyway, the uh, these scenes were actually filmed during class using my phone and another girl's phone. Um, to text back and forth, and it took like 5 minutes. And it sets up the relationship between those two characters and the kind of a scene or kind of a phrase from the actual story itself that lends to Penelope realizing it's Odysseus as the old man at the end of the Odyssey. Um, so that is the this is the line right here that's kind of taken from the Odyssey. So yeah, it's really shaky. I had to zoom in really far so we couldn't see that we were actually inside my classroom. Um, and there goes Michael, and there's a really creepy look from Summer, who plays Callie, the Calypso character in the story. Security guard, our version of Poseidon, played by Colin. Most of the time, there's one point the guard is played by Cash when Colin couldn't be there, and I'll point that out later. Summer actually had uh, experience with theater, so she kind of helped me out through this. Most everything was filmed after school for about an hour, um, every day for about uh, going on about 2 weeks, spread over about a month. There were things here and there we had to do during class, like what you're about to see here in just a second. Right there, that was filmed during my seventh period class, which Michael was actually in. That was filmed after school, but I just told them to sit back there and pretend they were having class. So that's what they did, and you can see one boy, Chris in particular, is just acting goofy and hamming it up for the camera. They all my students always laughed at me being really serious because I was never serious or rarely serious in class. So being strict was, for some reason, a laugh to them. Here we meet up with Cash and Lane, who play the two guys who go along with OD for the journey here. You might have seen Lane just kind of turn away. That sets up a flashback sequence later during a big reveal. Oh, here comes Poseidon, security guard. This right here is a shot I wish had turned out a little better. Summer is actually sitting on a wheel, like a push cart, to hold a projector, and I'm pushing her as she holds the camera. And I wanted to spin around Michael there, but and make it kind of cool. It kind of fell a little flat, but it's still nice. It's a nice little dolly sequence, makeshift dolly sequence. This is the Lotus Eaters slash Stoners sequence here. The joint there is basically paper rolled with pencil shavings, and I actually had a girl roll it professionally for me, and they have some brownies there too that I let them eat, and we pretended they were weed brownies. This whole sequence is entirely improvised by all these kids who just did a whole bunch of goofy things for the camera. Most of them led by Sammy here, who's the one who has his pants down. He was hilarious. We were in this bathroom maybe 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. And all these shots with Michael actually waiting outside the bathroom was filmed at a later time. We came back and refilmed those sequences. But yeah, thankfully Sammy here really stepped it up, and this Coke spit actually was an inch away from my shoe. I had to jump away at the last second so it wouldn't cover my shoes. This moment here always got a big from my students, because Sammy actually takes a brownie and puts it in his shorts. Now he swears he was wearing like sport shorts underneath those shorts, because he takes the brownie back out and eats it. And he actually does this, and it was really disgusting. But he promised he actually put it on shorts. Here, this is on a different day, and here it cuts back to the actual day we did the bathroom stuff. And Michael was having such a hard time trying not to laugh right there. Here comes the Cyclops Polyphemus, or Philly, bit. The nobody part was really forced in here, but I wanted to put it in there. Cash had way too much fun being a goofball in this scene, ad libbing lines that unfortunately had to be cut, and then the boys had to pick him up off the ground, which they really struggled with, and you can see that in some bloopers. And here they go. They finally got him up, and you can see kids in the background who were just watching us filming. Right here is a stretch of the film that is kind of a slow part. It brings in some of the worst acting, unfortunately, and it's just kind of a string of scenes that didn't really work the way I'd hoped they would. They're trying to plan on, where they can go, to hide out for the rest of the day so that they don't get in trouble. So Lane had a lot of trouble not looking at the not looking at the camera. He'd always look at the camera. These are all a bunch of kids who were just kind of hanging out after school, so we got them to be some kids in the hallway. And I just told Michael, run, just don't walk. So he kind of points around the corner. He's like, run? Yeah. The CC sequence. This had a lot of issues with it. That always got a big laugh right there, the little stuffed animals. Bree didn't learn her lines, and so we had tried to make cue cards off camera, and that was a total disaster. On top of that, we wanted to put her in goth makeup, but she would either forget the makeup, or we didn't have time to put it on, or just a bunch of stuff went wrong with this whole sequence. And then she didn't show the charisma that she had during the auditions when she actually performed the lines. Then Michael kept trying to make her laugh, and there's a whole string of bloopers where she's trying to give one line and she just cannot get it. So many problems here. And then she flubs a line and gives the wrong room number. I actually had a different shot where right here it pans down from the room number to the door, and I had to cut that out since she gives the wrong room number. Here is Will, who plays the T Weezy or Tiresias character. He actually gives an okay performance here. He's reading the script off of the computer. This is my mentor teacher's room at the time. He let us borrow the room after school one day. And Will actually gave a decent performance here to the point where he wanted to go into the Romeo and Juliet movie that we did next and have a bigger role, and he did a really good job in that, but that brought on a whole other can of worms, which I'll talk about in that commentary. So, and unfortunately, I didn't realize at this time, because this was my first big video project, film project, filming in the dark and being backlit there is probably the worst thing you can do lighting wise. And of course, the big joke of this scene is that she's not actually a witch and didn't turn uh, Bob and Larry into stuffed animals, but they were just hiding in the back because they wanted some weed and were upset that they were taken away from the stoners. I like that little twist from the Odyssey into this version. I don't think it worked out as well, but as I'd hoped it to, but it was okay. This scene is very choppy because we were rushed and uh, we didn't get all the shots that we needed to make it work right. There was even a shot in there where Michael's eating an apple right off camera, and I pan to him, and I have to duck down so he can hide the apple behind his back before he says the line.
We apologized, didn't we?
I swear, you two are gonna be the enemy. Did anything productive even come out of that?
She wrapped my fingers, huh?
Dude, what's up?
Did you hear that?
Dude, I hear it too.
Y'all are both blowed.
No, man. Listen.
Come on.
Here comes a scene for the sirens or the choir girls. I like this scene, and a lot of the kids like this scene, but it's really cheesy looking back.
Come on, man. Let's just take a look.
And we actually had to film it on different days
So
Amazing.
because I can't exactly remember. I think it had to do with availability. That, and they would have been too embarrassed to sing in front of each other. In fact, this scene was actually supposed to happen in the school's auditorium, and we went to film it on the last day before Christmas break. Um, but we couldn't get the act together right. None of the kids knew their lip syncing song lines, and it was just one problem after the other. So we cut it and we came back to it after the break and just went into my classroom with a cut from them going into a completely different classroom to try to mix things up a bit. So this is the same classroom from the beginning of the movie where you see me. And so anytime here you see the girls and the boys, it's a completely different day. And actually the classroom is set up different. So you see the desks in the background there are kind of at angles. But when it comes back to the boys, it's straight rows. So that's kind of a little blooper there. Cash was the only one of the guys who knew the lyrics to this song. So he took lead on this. Yeah, and it turned out okay. It's goofy. I think this whole scene goes on a little bit too long. I think I was a little over ambitious with my ideas for this, with doing almost 2 whole songs. One for the girls and one for the guys. But it is a nice little mix-up where the guys actually sing back to the sirens. Right here, you just saw Michael put down the bag, and this was a issue with continuity that we were trying to solve, because what happened, we of course filmed the scenes out of order, and we discovered that a whole bunch of scenes he had forgot to bring the backpack along with him. And so there's a whole group of scenes that happen after this where he's not wearing the backpack. Fortunately, 2 of the scenes that followed, or one of the scenes that followed all those other scenes included the Poseidon security guard character, who could bring the backpack with him. And so we filmed Michael putting the backpack down on the ground and forgetting it here, and then changing up the script to include that little tidbit there. And it actually kind of worked in our favor, because they would need to go get the hamburgers later, but they didn't have their snacks. So they were supposed to lose. I think they may have lost the backpack in another way, but it kind of worked out in how we flipped it around. But anyway, it was like 4 years ago at this point. I don't remember the specifics. I just know we had to rewrite the script based on him not having his backpack. And up here comes Colin again, which right here, this was actually filmed during his 4th period class. We just filmed it for like 5 seconds of him stepping in. And so completely different time and day. A pickup shot here. And the little cross-arm lean-in was their idea, which was funny. Yeah, that right there, again, was a 4th period pickup shot. Him getting pushed back. We had a lot of difficulty getting Colin availability during this particular shoot. I didn't know if they were allowed to be running back there at that time, but I was with them, so it was fine. I love that little pan right there. Okay. What's coming up here is the Scylla and Charybdis bathroom fight sequence. I got these three guys to be bullies, basically, and one of them actually was not my student at this time. I actually ended up having him a couple years later, which is Payton, the big guy in the middle. He was a friend of Cash's, so I knew him through Cash.
Guys, just listen. We're gonna chill here for a little bit, then we'll go. Oh, no, do I?
Eric, who is the one speaking all ghetto. Then what, Tricks? Was really funny during filming this, but anyway, the guys here filmed their entire choreography, or they came up with their whole choreography for this whole fight sequence, which was really impressive. And the shot there at the beginning with Cash hitting Payton gets the biggest reaction out of anything else in this movie, and it was just a great hit. And but then they also react that Payton's smiling the whole time during the fight, so kind of ruins it. The toilet there was supposed to be Charybdis, if nobody got that, so it was swirling. The vent here, climbing into the ceiling, this was the biggest set piece that we actually made right here. There's just a cardboard box glued the inside with foil, and it's set up in my classroom. I'm laying in a very awkward angle to not get any of the rest of the classroom, so it's just them crawling through the box. And I felt really bad for Lane, who came in last, because Cash actually kept farting climbing through the box. And so Lane ad-libbed that line of, "Who farted?" And Cash goes, "I'm sorry." And that was based on real events. I really did not know how to frame a camera shot. Here, whenever we had to pick up dialogue, they would memorize a couple lines, and then we would film, then they would stop, and then we would start, and they would walk again. And it just looks really bad and choppy, but I've learned from that since. Here's the Helios' cows sequence, where in the story, they're told not to eat the cows. Oh, that's actually Cash right there. We couldn't get Colin for this day, so Cash kind of stunt doubled for him there. But anyway, in the story, the guys are told not to eat Helios' cows, and they do. And so they're electrocuted, like struck by lightning, and they all die. And Odysseus is the last one left. So they got some burgers there, and they're about to get tasered by a security guard, which would never happen. And there's him getting his backpack back. And this is me right here about to taser them with my old phone, my BlackBerry. I just kind of hold it and push it against them, and they get tasered.
Are y'all even allowed to?
You just tased him.
I love Cash's reaction here. Oh! Summer accidentally pokes Michael's eye right there and pulls him in. And we're about to move into the Calypso sequence, which I kind of like. I like the montage. Ooh, we had some boys playing basketball there, so got some accidental extras. And we're back to Colin again right here. Filmed on the opposite side of the gym from where they're currently at. And back to some not great acting. Summer's okay, but she has experience with theater. She just had difficulty remembering her lines.
It's a long story.
A lot of backstory here, trying to get in uh, almost forcibly connection to her character in the Odyssey, and it comes off a little awkward, but it's mostly just set up.
I just told you everything. Come on, it's your turn.
I don't know. I just don't like school.
This following sequence, the montage between the two, is one of my favorites because in these films I did with my students, there was so little chemistry and realism to their interactions that this was really a breath of fresh air. They had great chemistry together in the montage coming up here, and they basically improved a few random things to do, and I just edited it together, and it turned out pretty well. Getting ahead a little bit, what follows this montage is a kiss sequence, or a almost kiss sequence, and it was in the script that they go to, and here's the montage. They go to kiss each other, or rather, she goes to kiss him, but he's very faithful to his girlfriend. But she leans in for it, and of course, that's when he sees Penny, the Penelope character, and totally gives gives her the cold shoulder, Callie, and just keeps walking. And the reaction on Summer's face is priceless, and that also gets one of the biggest reactions from the kids who watch this. It's actually a basketball handshake right there. But anyway, the kiss, it was so awkward to film because they felt really embarrassed and awkward about doing it. And anytime Summer tried to lean in, they would both just start giggling, basically, right there. And then, boom. And here comes Colin, the only time you ever see his face in the whole movie, and it was just on accident. Right there. Okay, this is a sad moment because this girl here, Megan, a year or two later, she died in a car accident, I believe. It was very sad to hear that. She had come into my class halfway through the year from another town, and I think moved back to that other town after that year. And I don't remember the effect, the story of what happened, but it's tragic.
I'll tell you that stuff. Is he trying to destroy our relationship?
We don't even have a relationship. I don't even recognize you anymore.
Some flashback sequences to like a couple seconds ago. There's a cut right there. You can see a guy opening a door, and then suddenly being halfway through it. The timing was just a little off, so I had to make a cut. Right here, that was on purpose, get going to the locked doors. But as we're walking around filming this sequence, there is a janitor or somebody like following us and trying to talk to us as we're filming it. And it was very awkward, so you could see Michael kind of like turning around.
WTF, man? What are you guys doing?
Cash improvised some of these lines like, WTF, guys.
She would have found out anyway.
So you decided to tell her? Are you trying to ruin our relationship?
Can't tell. Cash was very much the comedian, always looking out to do bloopers. And one of the best bloopers is in this scene where they both have to turn around and say, shut up, Larry. And they could not pull off the simultaneous shut up. and we had to do it over and over and over again. And one of the times, one of them accidentally calls him Philly, who is the Cyclops. And Cash just riffs on that, and it's really funny, and you can see that in the bloopers. This was filmed in winter, and it was pretty cold outside, and Lane just had that little black shirt. So whenever he had to walk outside, it was freezing, and he would make comments about how cold it was. It's funny. Here, I forgot to actually film myself giving his lines, but fortunately, or giving my lines. Fortunately, I read my lines to him so he could react off of them. So I just used that. And oh, some dialogue was on purpose to set up these flashback sequences to show how good of a guy he is. Yeah, and there's some clever cutting right there because I was supposed to be sitting right next to him, but I'm holding the camera. So if I had done the shot a certain way, like I did, you wouldn't have seen me there, and it would have been a continuity error. I love that shot right there, little pan over. There's another continuity error with the stairs. We were on the 3rd floor, but depending on when you what scene you're watching in the movie, the floor number varies. Like at the beginning, I think it only takes them 2 floors to get down, but that takes 3 or something. I don't know. I know there's an issue. I love this shot too. Coming in, panning over the shoulder, and zooming in. I put a little blue tint on there. And there's that line. Megan really had an awkward time doing this smile right here. She felt so silly doing it. But it was the last shot we needed of her. And we had to do it over and over again. And that was the Odyssey remix, or Odyssey the remix. And you will see my name 1,000 times throughout the credits.
The sky is falling down. Gonna be okay when it knocks you down, down, down. So baby, don't worry. Alright, when it knocks you down. When you go down, don't need to worry. Just get back up when you're tumbling down, down, down. It's like I've been awakened. Every rule I had you breaking. The risk that I'm taking. Put your smile on my face, and it never feels out of place. Living on the top, living on the hand, living on the goddamn ground. Living on the rumba. Selling tea, symphonic. I like that bass. I like that rockin' electronic beats. Living on the hip hop music, future fly. Baby, don't worry. Alright, when it knocks you down. Somewhere far along this road. Pressed down, I wanna let it go. I feel down, 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 down. I've been traveling on this road so long. Just trying to find my way home. The boat is dead and gone, dead and gone. I got a feeling. Ooh, I found God. Living on the top, living on the hand, living on the goddamn ground. Living on the feeling, the music keep it locked. We got the pop, we got the band, we got the rockin' electronic beats. We got the hip hop music with the future fly. People in the place, put your hands in the air. Put your hands up, right now.
gotta get this year's remix.
Future sound.
I got a feeling
But I never really had a doubt
that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a